Hello, everyone. I am Christine Gritmon, and this is Let's Talk About Brand. I do this show every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. And today we started a couple minutes late, and it's a little weird because I'm actually on vacation. But I couldn't miss my Friday date with all of you lovely people. Just to remind you all, on Tuesdays, I have a Twitter chat called Chat About Brand. And on Fridays, I have this live stream show, Let's Talk About Brand, where I bring on a special guest who's an expert on the topic that that week's Twitter chat was also about. And this week, it's about brands giving back. Of course, a lot of people and companies do some degree of charitable giving or volunteer work, but it's another thing entirely when it's not an afterthought, when it's something that's sort of baked into your brand DNA. So today, we're going to talk to Tristan Griffiths of It's Nomad 9 to talk about how he has built giving back into that brand and how other brands can do the same. So without any further ado, let's bring Tristan on. Hey, Tristan.
Hey, Christine, love that. Yeah, really good to be here. Thanks for making it possible, even when you're away. I know what it can be like when you're traveling and having to carry on doing the things that you do. So well done.
Oh, totally. And this was very much like skating in at the last minute. There's some internet issues, but that's okay. We're going to have a fantastic chat anyway. So first, I was wondering if you could kind of tell the good folks at home a little bit about It's Nomad 9 and specifically about the giving back element that is so core to your agency.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've actually recently just rebranded. We're actually in 9.media now because we teach and train social media and we help people to get their head around the complex nature of ever-changing social media and digital world. And with that, we wanted to get around the algorithms to make sure that people could get access to the training. So we built a platform called in9.media. Looks like a social media site. People can message each other and keep up to date with what's happening. But it's more about teaching and training in specific groups and niches. And with everything that we do, we have a completely free community that anybody can join. So there's literally just signing up on the site. But with the paid element of what we do, the teaching, training, consulting, running strategy, creating content that we do, that people are paying for the service, we're actually subscribed to a service called B1G1 or Buy One Give One, which is an initiative where we pay a yearly fee to have access to that platform. And then every dollar, every cent that we give to any cause goes directly to the cause with nothing taken out of the top. So really important to us is that the ethics of how we give, and 10% of all of our income goes to those good causes. One of the jobs once we jump off this call is for me to do the update on our site. It's actually front and center of our website, talking about the giving that we've done, and we signed up fully last September, and we're due to do an update, but we're over 130,000 giving impacts around the world. That's books into a library, that's helping kids get to school, providing bikes so that people who can't physically get to schools can get there, clean water, a whole range of different things that we support, and also, you know, people who are in care, providing support to them. And something that's really close to my heart, because I'm an ex-chef, an ex-hospitality professional, is we help to recover wasted meals in restaurants. So we're encouraging restaurants to give their leftover food away, and that's also being used to feed the homeless. So giving back to the people who need it the most. So really excited to be able to contribute so positively.
Sorry, just having a little issue with my shortcuts here. So that is amazing. Have you said that you fully signed up for the buy one get one program last September? So from what I've seen on your website, it seems to be a very direct thing where if you purchase this service, it does this charitable good. Can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to go that route as opposed to, you know, a percentage of sales or something of that nature, and a little bit about what those things are, what those gives backs are?
Yeah, so we have, to be clear, we've associated certain giving with certain activities because it's just easy for people to be able to look and say, I know if I buy a website, I'm going to contribute to these 3 good causes around the world. If they want to run the content creation service that we have, that's going to contribute to 3 different ones. So we carefully sat down with the team and looked at the types of projects that we wanted to support. My fiance, who is head of content, she's actually really big bookworm, so she's got like 800-900 books in the other room. We had to dedicate a room to a library, so one of the givings that she's interested in is putting books into library to help people have access to that knowledge. So that's one of the causes. We've got clean water in there, reading books to children in care, so people who really need the help, giving them access to it. So the way we've decided to do it is that 10% of any spending with our business, no matter where it's spent, whether it's a website, a consultancy, content creation service, 10% goes to the causes that are linked to each type of service. So without bringing it back up on screen, I can't do it off the top of my head, but each thing has about 3 causes that it supports. And obviously on the front of our website on in9.media, there's actually a widget that shows the giving that we've done, where that money has gone, and there's an overwhelming sense of feeling good. Not only do we get to do good, but people get the services that they need and want at no additional cost to them. They also get to feel good for us contributing 10% of our income out to good causes. So that allows those people to feel good. And the response we get when we send an email, someone pays an invoice and then we send an email saying, thanks so much for doing business with us. Just to let you know, because of the spending that you've done with our business, these are the good causes that we've been able to help on your behalf. So they get to know their money is also being used for good. And so we do that way. And obviously each project is linked to different things. There's a few projects that sit across 2 or 3 different products, but we've tried to link them in a way that makes sense to us internally as an organization.
Now, before linking up with the buy one, get one program, and in fact, even since doing it, do you work directly with the charities and causes that you're helping, or do you kind of set it up through that larger organization?
So I've always been, if you jump back a few years, I actually was a head chef and restaurant manager in a restaurant in Australia that was the whole concept of there's a space at the table for everyone, no one should go hungry. And it was people donated and paid what they felt when they came to eat, which meant the people that could afford it, they know what they'd usually pay and they'd contribute that and a little bit more to pay for someone else's meal. And those who couldn't afford it could go and get a meal. So I've always been really conscious about the organizations that we support. It's probably, around the world, I imagine we probably all come across the same thing. Here, definitely in the UK, you'll walk down the street, in a pre or post-pandemic situation, and there'll be someone from a charity wanting to talk to you in the high street and get you to commit to giving to a cause. But you've got to ask a whole load of questions of how much of my money is going there, how much goes to administration, how much good is it actually doing? I need to know more before I'll commit to that. So all the organizations, before we commit to anything, we want to know about them. B1G1 has become an intermediary organization that handles all of that. We get updates from all of the different organizations that we contribute towards. They're constantly sharing where they're spending the money, what they've done, they're celebrating all of those things they're able to do because of the giving, which means we can share even more of that story back. So we decided B1G1 was the right route to go because it dealt with that side that we were already conscious of, is consciously giving to causes that we know are having the most impact, so making the most bang for the buck. As same with people when they're buying from us, we want to do the same with the money that we then pass on.
And it sounds like you've gotten a very good reaction from your clients, feeling good about doing something to give back. Now, a question that I have for you is that if a brand is interested in doing some sort of give back and having it really built in to their operations, what are some ways to get started with that? And a similar question, how can you do that without it seeming gimmicky?
So exactly how we started when we started with B1G1, like I'm a little bit too far off shot, but I'm literally wearing my Trust Equity t-shirt today, which is something I talk about all the time, is building trust with the people that you do business with it's a currency. You can cash it in later or you can transfer it. The same is true of what you do, the day-to-day fabric of how your business runs. And it's never been a gimmick, so much so that when we signed up in September, we weren't actively promoting that we were doing it. We actually did it post-payment. So existing customers suddenly started getting emails that said, thanks for spending money. Because of you, we were able to do this. And they're like, what? Like, what do you mean? And then they asked more questions. So it has this snowball effect where, like the question you're asking, they want to know how and why we're doing that and how their money to us has impacted people further down the line. So it's this whole concept of pay it forward and business for good. So you might see me using those hashtags on a regular basis across the socials, because anyone can use their business for good. You don't actually have to shout about it. And it becomes this awkward thing, like you've just brought up, of, is it a gimmick if we're talking about it? Well, the reason I talk about it publicly and openly, and it's the front and center of our website, is you can choose to do business with multiple different agencies within our sector and spend the exact same or similar result. You spend with one, it is all profit going to the business. When you spend with another, the money is going to a good cause. So you can choose spending the same money, getting the same results, and you can ethically choose which way to go. So avoiding that gimmick is just making it the core fabric of what you do as a business. And whether you do it, so we're very different. And I actually got a call from B1G1 because they were like, you've had an incredible number of giving impacts since you started. And they thought, like, some people had just come back to the organization, genuinely thought we'd been in for like a year or 2 years looking at giving impacts, because most people do, as the name suggests, buy one, give one. If you book a consultancy with me, I will give a meal to someone in America, maybe, for example, like a homeless person, and they do buy one, give one. We do 10%, which means when we take that money, someone maybe spends, let's say, £350 on a product. Out of that, we're taking £35 and putting that all into a cause. So it's not one thing, it's spread across 3 causes. So we've taken buy one, give one to buy one, give lots. So it's kind of gone over the top, but it's easier to just do it as a percentage, because every giving has different amounts. And obviously, otherwise, you've got to get really right down to detail of, when someone buys this, how much is it and where can we donate it so that it makes sense. And so for us, it was easier to go 10%, and then that comes in. And then, of course, we split it into 3 and pay that to the causes. And obviously, dependent on how much people are spending, it affects it that way.
Now, in order to accommodate that, did you raise prices at all, or did you just kind of say, this is going to result in more, even if we take a little bit of a hit?
Like I said, with it being the core of the fabric and who we are, we took the hit internally and said, look, we know it's the right thing to do. We're going to do it to inspire other people to do it. And some people might, budge their price a little bit so that they can do more with it. And I don't know that there's right or wrong answer to what you do within that. Mm-hmm. But for us, it was definitely important that it wasn't raising the price, because otherwise it's like a tax on giving to charity, which didn't feel right. And for us, it had to feel right for us because it's charitable giving.
Speaking of feeling right for you, right now there's a wide array of charitable programs that you are supporting. Are you planning to continue with that variety, or are you planning on perhaps kind of zeroing in on things that matter the most to you or your company, or even to your clients?
So we have a certain number of products where there's not an associated thing to certain products. Like consultancy, we have no idea what someone will spend, and so it's hard for us to attach it to a specific thing. Also, we found that consultancy is obviously some of the higher paid work, and as people do that, why not give them the choice to choose where that money goes and what causes are they're interested in? Because we've got core causes we want to help: education, hunger, clean water. Those are all really important to us internally, and this is a team input. It's not just me running the organization saying this is what we're doing. We've had conversations and said, what do you think is a good way to give back? And we're just in the middle of 15 new hires within the agency, and as those people come in, they'll be included in that because they've not had a say up until this point, but they're working on projects that generate money for charity. So we want them to have an input and a say in where that money goes as well. So for the people coming in for consultancy, certain things that don't have something attached, they can choose it. With regards to zeroing in or expanding out, like the aim is that we'll generate more income and be able to help more people. A lot of people do well in their business, make a lot of money, then get philanthropic, and they use their money for good. You know, the Zuckerberg Foundation, Bill Gates and Melinda, like that, topical. But that side of it, there's conversations that they do all this and then they do good. Why not do good all along the way? Because you don't need to have got there. Because whilst you asked the question about it being a gimmick, it's not a gimmick. But I tell you what, we haven't had a single person who said, please don't give my money to charity. Not a single person wants to not do good. I use a phrase when I'm teaching and training around the topic of, you know, advocacy, doing good, using your business for good and paying it forward. That is, humans inherently want to do good. You've just got to make it easier for them. And we do that by just providing the service they want and then saying, by the way, you helped send some kids to school. You just helped some people go on an entrepreneurship workshop so they can work for themselves and not have to work for someone else. And the positive feedback is absolutely incredible.
I love that. Well, that's a fantastic thing, and I don't know who wouldn't want to be on any end of that, either as the client or the agency, and especially the charity, of course. So we have a couple questions for you from my Tuesday Twitter chat about brand. Let's see what we've got here. So Wholesome Media, hey Wholesome Media, they're here right now. They want to know how you decide which causes to give and help support. And I feel like you dealt with this a little bit, but if you could get a little bit more into that. And also, do you do any sort of volunteerism days or anything like that, or is it pretty much just the straight buy one get one program situation?
So I'm always looking for ways to give back, and we do a whole load of internally, like even within the business world, we run a free community to teach and train people. We definitely support people in lots of aspects. Like we have one of our, other than our paid products, one of the most busy things within our organization is my calendar, because I've got a slot that is a 20-minute completely free strategy that is one-to-one. So I'm helping people locally in the businesses to get them where they need to be so that they can make more money and therefore make more conscious decisions like giving to charity and making different purchases and things like that. And of course, during those conversations, we get to have a positive impact on the local business community. With regards to the question of how do we choose them, I touched on it a little bit, but the team members within the organization get to have a say. And with certain products, we also ask clients. We don't use it as a gimmick. People see that it happens. They get informed that it happens. But if we feel that the best way to deal with it is the flat 10% and us splitting it out to specific causes as a general rule, because we're not saying, hey, by working with us, this is what happens. People hear about it, right? We're here having this conversation because you've heard it's a thing we do. The team get to choose, and also in certain situations we'll ask a client, and it might be, here's 3 causes, because the problem is if I gave you the catalogue for B1G1 and the causes you could donate to, bear in mind that it's all of the global giving initiatives, which I think it's 21 different topical causes, and under each of those there's, you know, literally hundreds of things you could support. For us, it's saying which topic is most important to you. Is it ecology? Is it hunger? Is it education? And then from that, we've already got all of those set up, because we can then just fire that money straight into those good causes and have that impact and obviously pay it back to people. So the team help us to decide, and as we bring new team members, they get to have a say as they come in. So this Monday we have 2 more people joining us that will be having an input and having their say on where they think money should go from what we do. And then obviously, like I said, the client side, as and when it's appropriate, we'll say, look, and a consultancy will say, this is brilliant, thanks a lot. In fact, we're just about to do some consultancy work for a council. And when we sit with them, we'll say, thank you so much for the opportunity to work with you. We support good causes and we'd love your input on where you'd like it to go. Now, that sets you apart. It's not a gimmick, but it's what we do. And it sets us apart from all of the other suppliers that they have. So there's an approved supplier list. Suddenly, this supplier makes the council look really good because we give money to them at standard price, and they give some of it to charity, and we can say we've contributed towards that because we acknowledge their contributions towards that, so they're regularly getting an update. So it literally helps to encourage people to do more business with you. So it does actually inherently grow the business without being gimmicky.
That reminds me of I know so many realtors, of course, and when it was time to buy and sell my house, I went with my friend Kenyatta, and her firm. One of the things that they do is that they do have a percentage that they give back to the client's choice, which is fantastic. And they, of course, have a handful of organizations that they personally support in case it's a client who doesn't have anything in particular that they know that they want to support. So that's always a nice extra. All right.
Some people aren't ready there, so they're not, like, that's the challenge. Is if you ask a client where they want their money to go, if it's not a core part of the fabric of their business, they have to sit down and spend a lot of time thinking about it. That's why this one, or giving them 3 choices is better, because it's like, what's more important to you? Education, hunger, the environment. And they say that one. And that's a gut instinct, and we say brilliant, and then we go and support it. And like, if it's the environment, we might be messaging them saying, "Hey, thanks for doing business with us. We've just planted 100 trees," and they'll be like, "What?" Like, yeah, keep doing business with us, and let's get a forest together. We joke like that with someone and say, "Let's not stop at 100. Let's build a forest." Because you can talk openly about it.
So this is these next 2 questions actually aren't really about giving back, but I always like including my Twitter chat questions in here. So we have a question from Vasundhara. She wants to know how you define social selling, or if you even do. Maybe that's not your thing, but how do you define social selling?
I actually teach social selling, so this is right in my ballpark. So when I talk about social selling, a lot of people make this mistake when we talk about social selling, thinking that it's the act of selling through social media. For me, social selling is the act of selling without selling. So in the same way, we get more business because we donate to charity. We don't use it as a gimmick. It helps us to sell. Like, people go, "This feels good. I've never felt this good doing business with someone before. I want to do more business with them." The same is true of why I do my 20-minute one-to-one strategy calls. Is it gives people an opportunity to see what we're about at the highest level. And people are quite often caught up when they're doing this. I hear a lot of businesses do something free, and the something free is usually low level. For me, I give one-to-one, but I restrict it on time, so you can see this is what it looks like if we do business. So it's a real high level offering in a limited time frame. So the act of that is showing people how much they can achieve, what they can do. And so actually, I don't sell anything. I spend 20 minutes talking, and every single call I wrap up with what's been the biggest takeaway, and who are 3 people that you think would benefit from having a call like this. That is lead generation. Who are 3 people, very specific. And it's also getting feedback so that we can potentially get reviews, get feedback, improve the service every single time we have a call. And I get, like, I've changed my calendar around slightly because we're working on a lot of different projects at the moment. And my Mondays can be like 15 back-to-back calls all the way throughout Monday. And I love that. And some people, that's their worst nightmare. For me, I come out of it and I'm buzzing and I'm like, I need to go for a run. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And that's great that Vasundhara, I guess, knew that you are a social selling guy. By the way, I love Tim's comment that the idea of 10% giving is actually a traditional part of a lot of religions, like tithing is a concept. And I actually was at a business retreat where a woman was saying that her goal is to reverse tithe. She would love to get to a point where she can live on 10% of her income and donate 90, which is just unfathomable levels of generosity there. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So we've got another question from the chat. Stephen wants to know what your daily routine looks like to ensure you don't miss important communications to your community.
So you probably can't see it in the shot we're in, but I've actually just been drinking out of my Agora Pulse mug while we've been on the call. So that's one of the tools. So one of the tools that I use is Agora Pulse. And for anyone who's not an Agora Pulse user, I'm actually also an ambassador. So if you want to test it, I can help you get on it for 2 months to test it out. But it's one of the best tools that I've ever used to save my time of going to all the platforms, getting distracted, seeing everything that's happening, monitoring and scheduling. Most people hear Agorapulse or platforms like that and think only social scheduling. Social listening, like an inbox message on Facebook comes in, and let's face it, anyone who's watching this has probably got an idea around social media, and we know that from time to time the notification centers are not good. And I've been on Facebook, not had a notification, but had it on Agorapulse, and I'm like, surely it runs off the API, so I don't understand how they're doing it, but we do that. So that's one tool. With regards to my routine, I start the day, I actually start my day with making sure that I'm checking in on bits. So on Monday for me looks like starting at 2 a.m. because I do some work with StreamYard over in America. When they do their town halls, I have a call at 3, and then I have blocks of time between, like on a Monday, it'll be between like 3 and 6:30. That is catch up, monitor everything. Have we got everything? One of the big things, which I can't show you because we've literally just been rearranging and it's not there, I've got a whiteboard with the tasks that are follow-ups. So as something happens, if we mention something, and I was like, Christine, I can send you that stuff. I'd be like, give me a second, and I can just write it on the whiteboard so that it's a tick box. I can go to it. And that sounds, when I work in digital, it sounds really weird to do stuff on a whiteboard and away from that. I also then set reminders through my CRM system. So at the end of a day, last tasks of the day is what's on tomorrow, what are the tasks that are most important, so that we're specifically working on the most important tasks. We teach it, so we have to live it. And then we can clear the whiteboard of those tasks, put them in a CRM. And similar to this, I didn't quite get to do it because I was actually in the shops 29 minutes before we jumped on here. And I have it all in my Google Calendar, and it pings up saying, hey, 29 minutes to go till you're, jumping on a call. Those reminders I've got set at specific time intervals for everything I put in, and they're all color. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this off and show you because it's stuck on the blue tack. If you give me 1 second, I will actually show you. I actually color code my whole calendar. So in my calendar, everything is color coded, telling me what it is, and specifically, is it mine? Is it someone else's? Am I speaking at it? Am I attending it? So I know everything that's in my calendar by color. So it's really visual for me. I can look at that and then I can kind of go through and say, that's one of ours. I could move that. So I know what's movable and non-movable as well, so we don't miss anything.
That is next level organization. I need to get some of that into my life. All right, Tristan, thank you so much for being here with us today. This is awesome. Can you round it out by just kind of saying, if a company is looking to give back and to have that become part of their actual process, not just something they do as an afterthought, what advice would you give them for getting started?
Really speak to the team and involve everyone, because your whole team need to they need to buy into the idea that you're going to do it. Like ultimately, whoever runs the business, it's their decision. But if you get the buy-in of everyone and their input on what causes matter to them, just by showing up to work, the work they do now contributes to a good cause. In the same way a client's money contributes, the work of someone also contributes. So that's really, really important. Work out what causes matter to you, even before you ask your team. Maybe you want to have 3 or 4 causes to offer the team to choose from. So come up with some causes there. A good place to start would be the global giving initiatives. Literally, just you can Google it, and it's a nice colorful chart of, I can't remember the exact number. I think it's about 21 causes that you can choose from. And then that gives you a good starting point, that it might be education. Does everybody have fair access to education? We want to put all our money into that, and we want to make sure that that's a thing. Maybe we want to eliminate hunger, And so from that point, then you can start to pick the charitable causes that you're going to support. If you're going to support a lot, something like B1G1 is going to work really, really well because of the way it helps you distribute. I log on and I go, it's like shopping. I go, we're going to send 10 meals there. We're going to recruit 1 restaurant. I'm going to send 100 books into that library, put it in the basket, make a payment, and it just transacts and it's done. So for lots, it's good like that. Any charitable organization that you go to deal with, ask the key questions. How many pence in the pound or cents in the dollar go to the actual cause, and how much is used for administration? Because that's important. If you give, $100, you want to know that the majority of it, I appreciate it costs to run, but you want to know that most of it is going to the cause and not, I've heard some horrific stories with charities. If you give $100 and like $13 gets there and you're like, what happened to the rest? So yeah, just due diligence is important.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here. Where should people find you?
Mine is super simple. Two very easy ways to find me. One is in9.media, free community. You can connect and you can message me over there and we can chat directly in the platform. I'm on there every day teaching and training. Or, as I say on the beginning of all of my own live streams, you can find me as I'm Tristan G across all the socials. Connect with me wherever you spend most time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tristan G. I'm so glad that you are Tristan G and that you are doing good in the world while doing your thing. And apparently, you're going to be on Tim's show. On Oh No, Not Another Live Show next Tuesday. I'm going to be on there in June. So good.
Brilliant.
We keep good company. So again, oh no, it just flipped from mirrored to not mirrored. That's weird. Anyway, again, I am Christine Gritmon. It has been Let's Talk About Brand. I do it every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. I also have my Twitter chat on Tuesdays called Chat About Brand. That's also at noon Eastern Time. I like keeping it simple, midday. So again, the chat is on the same topic as the Friday show is going to be, and we just right before we went live had a schedule change for next week. So you might be a little confused if you were there for last week's chat, but now next Tuesday's topic is actually going to be finding your niche. And finding your niche is going to be something that we're then going to discuss live on Friday with the wonderful Amy Cager. I'm having 2 Brits in a row. I got lots of Brits in my world. So do join us for Let's Chat About Brand on Tuesday on Twitter, and this show, Let's Talk About Brand, on Friday on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks for joining us. Bye.